Hello guys, so in this video we are going to create a simple calculator. So you can see the default application over here. So from the main we are calling run app, that is used for running your application, and this is my app. So we have a class my app that is a stateless widget and which contain a material app. So your app should be extending this material app. So this basically provide you some formatting and components. So it provides some title, theme data, and some color schemes. So let's change it from title calculator, and we don't need these comments, we can remove it, and it is going to home page, that is my home page. So currently we are using this. Let's say I just give it hello so that you can see, save it, and you can see the title has been changed. Okay, so what we need to do is we just remove all these things, and we need to remove this as well. So what we will do, we will create our own screen, that is home underscore, let's say page dot, you can give it any name. So let's say this is my home page. So for this we need to create some widgets. So I'm going to create a stateful widget and give it a name, let's say home page. Okay, and here this stateful widget would have this create state method, which is again creating the instance of this class, which is maintaining the state of home page. Okay, so you have to override the build method over here. So here you need to return the widget that you want to display. So let's quickly return a text and something hello. Just put semicolon over here, and if you hover over it, you can see some error is coming, or a kind of suggestion. So this text is basically a class. This is a of constant type, so we should add this constant in front of it. So since we are not using these dependencies of classes, so we are removing these imports. Save this. Now this home page, we can directly use it over here with const home page. Okay, just save it, and you can see hello is coming on the screen. Now this hello is coming because we are not using any kind of material app or something. Okay, so what we need to do is we are using this material over here whose home is this. So this material provides some components, so we need to return here some specific component. So main thing, we have a scaffold here that provide you some basic building blocks of the screen, like the title bar, like the drawer, and some floating action buttons and other things. So let's return this scaffold. If I come inside this scaffold, I can pass some arguments, like one of them is app bar. So let's enter this, and you can create a app bar here. So just go for this one, and inside the app bar you have some title, and you can specify the title. So you can specify the title directly like this, and you will get error. So how do you know what type of value would be? So basically whenever you type this like title, you can see here it is expecting a widget. Okay, so that means we need to pass here text widget, and where we can pass some text. Let's say calculator app. Again, this is a constant, so just pass it like this. So I just save it, and you can see immediately you got a app bar. Okay, so same way this scaffold provide another component as well, that is body part, and this body is again gonna expecting widget, you can see here. Okay, so let's go for this. For widget, the simplest widget I am going with container. Container is like a division in HTML. So this container basically provides some again arguments. Let's go for some color so that we can see where it is. So basically we have a colors class which provides some constants, like one of them is, let's say, Amber. Let's go for this. I just save it, and you can see this body is occupied the whole space. Okay, now what we need to get data from user. So this container can hold some things, so it can have a child. Okay, now you can see this child is again expecting a widget. Let's go for this. Now we need to have multiple childs. In order to handle that multiple childs, we should go for such kind of widget which can handle multiple childs. So we want to display, let's say, top to bottom. So for that we have a widget column. So this column basically can have children. Okay, so that means we can have multiple widgets inside it. For example, we want to take input from user. For that we have text field, and if you save it, you can see one text field over here. If I tap it, and you can type something like that. Okay, now there are different properties of these text fields as well. So let's go back to text field and just go for this. So we have one property, decoration. Input decoration. Yeah, here it is. So here you can define some borders, and this border requires some border. Let's see it. So we can go for input, let's say outline. There is one input border. We can use this. If I save it, you can see immediately one line over here around this text field. Okay, so what I can do, I just copy this and paste one more, so that you can see we have two different text input fields. Okay, now for this we can use some further properties as well. Let's use for this, and we have, do we have any hint text? Yeah, we have. So here you can simply pass a string, let's say first number, and since we are not taking anything dynamic, so just put it const over here, and I just remove this one for the time being. So since everything is constant, so we can put it here. Okay, now you can see this is a hint, like a placeholder in HTML. Okay, so this is fine. Now same way we need another text field as well, but before that, if you need some space in the top, we can have another widget, that is sized box. So we need some height, let's say some height of 10 pixels, and save it. So you can see some space over here. Now the thing is, we need little space around this. So you can either specify margin around this text field, or you can add padding to its container. So that is your choice. So we can go for this padding, and for padding we have to specify, I'll just show it to you. We have edge insets. So let's go for edge insets dot all side. I need, okay, so let's give it 20, and since it is again static everything, so we'll just put a const. Okay, now seems better. Later on you can remove this color as well, that's not an issue. Let's comment this, and here you go. So this is fine. Same way we can create one more text field in order to take second input, that is second number. Here you go. So we need a little space between these, so I just copy the size box and put it over here just before the second text field. Now we need some buttons. So for buttons we have different widgets, like one of the widget is material button, and you can see this is required one property, that is on pressed, so which takes one function. Okay, so now this is not a constant, so we need to remove this constant from here, and you need to add it separately on all the constants. but you cannot add it on dynamic values. This on press is not a constant, so that's why we were getting this error. So on press, whatever you want to do, code execute on button press. Okay, so we will come to this later. And do we have any other property? So we have another property, that is child. So child, that is again asking for a widget, so we will use widget like we want add, and since it is a constant, so just mention this. Okay, now you can see we have this button over here. So since it is not visible, you can change the styles for the same. Okay, so there is another approach. We have another widget for button, that is elevated button. If I save it, you can see a button over here. So basically this elevated button is using the styles from the material theme, whatever we have provided here. This one is using this primary switch, but for material button we need to do some other settings. We will do that later on whenever required. So let's go with the simple one. This is how we can create a simple button with some text add. Now we need multiple buttons. This one is for we just add one comma over here, and this one is for subtract. Save this, and we need two more. Just copy this, add comma, paste this, add comma, paste this, change this from subtract to, let's say, multiply, and divide. Save this. So we got these 4 buttons, but I don't want to display these buttons like this. So we were using the column widget. That means on one line you will be able to see one widget. Now I want to see these widgets in horizontal direction. So for that, instead of using these buttons directly, I just cut these buttons from here, and I will create another widget, that is row. So this row need to use this children and paste it. Just save it. Now you can see all the buttons are coming in one line. Now to arrange it in a proper spacing, we have some properties of row as well. Let's use main axis alignment. So it takes main axis alignment dot. Either you can put it in the center like this, or you can use another constants like space evenly. So it will automatically manage the space. Okay, and if you need a little space between these text fields and buttons, you can add one more size box. I think that's all. Now you can see we need the keyboard that can enter a number. So in order to do that, we need to use one more property here, that is keyboard type. So text input type dot, we need number. So let's type it, type dot number, and same thing we need copy over all the text fields. So it's better to go design your first text field and then you can use it, reuse it basically. Now if you can click here, and you can see the keyboard is now coming for numbers. Okay, so all when, now what we need, when we click on add button, I should be able to do the sum and display it somewhere. So what I do, in order to display the result, I just create one more widget over here, that is text, and the data would be coming from the variable. So result, let's say I will create a variable $result. So with dollar I'm referring to a variable that will display some value. So I need to create a result variable. Just go for this bulb and create a field result. So this result will be of double type, or you can take it of int type. So that's depend what kind of values you need. So since we cannot declare a variable like this, if you want, you can either make it late modifier, we can add it so that we can assign the value later on, but I will do what, I just keep it with 0. Okay, and what error you are facing, make sure you don't add the semicolon here, just save it, and immediately you can see the result over here, that is 0.0. One more thing, I just add little space over here, copy this, come before this, paste it, and if you want to make it a little bigger, we have the style. Just use the style property and assign a object of text style, where you can again pass some values like size, that's font size, let's give it 22, and font weight is there, that is font weight dot bold, and I think that's all. So since these properties are constant kind of thing, so we just add this constant. It's fine now. Okay, now we left with only the addition and these operations. Okay, so let's go for this add first. Here we need to get value, let's say 4, 2, and when I click on add, it should do addition. So we are not doing anything. So first of all, how to get this value entered by the user? So in order to get the values from this text fields, we need to add one more property, that is control. Okay, so for that we need to create controllers first. So let's create controller on the top here. So we can remove this property now, we are not using currently any iOS specific widget. Let's create a variable, let's say final text, there is editing controller. First one is first controller is equal to text editing control. Same way we need one more controller for the second one, so that we can access second values as well. So just simply go to this controller of text field and simply assign first controller. So we are facing the error. So we have mentioned const over here, so simply cut this const and come here and paste it. Since we are using this dynamic controller, basically this is a variable name, not a constant, so that's why you cannot create this as a constant whole. Okay, so same thing we need to do for the second text field. Just go here, cut this thing and paste it before input decoration and simply create a controller, that is second controller. Now controller is attached, we need to simply access the values from the controller. So how do you do so? Simply I will say string a is equal to first controller dot text. So this gonna give you text. Okay, you need to further convert it into integer. So I just do for the second controller as well, keep it into v variable b, and now we just need to convert this into integer, int dot parse, and just pass this a. So this gonna give you a number back, that's int n1 is equal to like this. Okay, so what we can do, we can replace this here. In order to short the code, we can simply get this text and pass it into integer. So since we are passing it into integer, we can keep it into integer variable. This is done. Now we need to do what? We need to change the value of this result. Okay, so we will do what? Result variable we have already created is equal to a plus b. Since result is of double type, we can do what? We can simply convert these variables to double type. Okay, so and since we are assigning to double variable, instead of using this int, we can use double. Okay, I think that's all. So now whenever you type 2 and 3 add, you are getting nothing. You are getting nothing. But what if I try to print it like result? Okay, just check it out. Is it working or not? I just clear my logs, click on add, and you can see we are getting 5. Right? Just type 20 and 30. Just clear this, click add. I got 50. So that means this code is being executed, but the values are not reflected on UI. So in order to do that, you need to call set state. Okay, so generally what we do, we just put the content that you want to change under this set state function. Okay, just save it and you will be able to see the result. Let's say 303 plus, let's say 303 plus 20, that is 323. Simple. Now same thing you can do with the rest of the buttons. I just delete this and copy this, go to the subtract button, paste it, and just change this to subtract, and just go for this multiply, change this operator to multiply. Same way for divide, just paste it and change this operator to divide. So just go ahead and save it. All done. And you can simply try with, let's say 200. Let's say divide, just go for this, add 230, subtract 170, multiply 6000, divide 6 point something. So that's all for this video. And if you want to hide this debug icon, just go for your main, and here under this material app there is a property show debug banner mode. Okay, show debug show check banner, just put it into, the value is false, you need to assign. So this will hide this. So that's all for this video. If you have any doubt, just let me know. Thank you.